This is a new Zoom update. It now gives you that
Yeah.
little robot voice and
I
it scares
know.
everybody.
Right.
It's very,
Just send me the recorded version, then I don't need to do minutes.
I can. I mean, for the record, wait, I'm calling the meeting to order at 2:03 p.m. on May 28th. And for the record, all of our recorded meetings are on the town YouTube channel. If Deb, you ever want to go back and look at them.
Mhm. But
As
do do I still need to do official minutes?
Please, because we need to have hard copies of the minutes, but you don't have to do them on the spot if you'd rather go back and watch the tape later.
Okay, thanks.
You. Yeah, and thank you for all you're doing.
Oh, yeah, what am I doing?
You're doing a great job. That's what you're doing.
Okay, let's see. Me,
So-
Mark, Jen, who am I missing? Me.
You. So we have
Okay.
me, Tom Cole, Jen Wertgen, Mark Washburn, and Deb McGee.
Okay.
Welcome, Cable Advisory Committee. Thank you all for coming today.
Bet.
Fairly short agenda, but a couple things we need to knock out before town meeting, which, as you all know, is going to be June 26th at the elementary school ball field. Please come. We have an article, sort of a just housekeeping article that's on there. So we're going to vote on that in a minute. But the first thing I wanted to do was finalize our approval of the Comcast license renewal contract, which I sent around a couple days ago. Did everybody get a chance to glance at it?
Yep.
Yes.
It looks great to me. It's all of the updated dates, times, and people, which we hadn't actually seen before. So Charlie Sumner, our wonderful acting TA, interim TA, wanted us to look it over and just give him a thumbs up. Bill Hewig, who is the attorney on this project, was also copied on it. I haven't heard anything from him, which I assume means that he's also good to go. I looked at it. It looks good to me. It covers the dates of the length of the contract. It has the correct funding numbers in it. It has the correct numbers for the density calculation for coverage.
Yeah.
Did anybody see anything that jumped out to them as not kosher?
No.
Looked good to me. Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Well, I'm very excited about that. And I'd like us, I don't know if it's necessary, but I'd like us to go ahead and take a formal vote to approve. So would anybody like to move the approval of, I don't think I should do it as the chair. Someone else could move the approval of the new
Jen, did you
Comcast.
raise your hand?
Yeah, I move the approval of the new Comcast
License.
contract, licensing contract,
Effective 2021. So what do you say
effective
that?
2021.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second it. Yeah.
I think Mark got there first.
All
So
right,
Jen
Mark, you
moved,
got it.
Mark second. Any more discussion on the motion?
Okay, so we're doing Mark as the second. All right. See, I'm so used to doing this. that It's hard for me to say,
You're
"Oh,
great.
do it.
I'm glad you're used to it. All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Aye, 5-0. Perfect. We have approved it. I will let Charlie and Rebecca know, and the select board can sign it, and then we'll be all set to go,
Wow.
which is very exciting.
Yeah.
I have been in touch with Mike Gala, who is our contact for Comcast, and I've been collecting the addresses of all the people who are curious about whether they're now newly eligible for coverage, and I've been sending them to him. And he says it's going to take time to calculate, and he also was waiting to give me an answer until the select board had officially signed it, which they haven't done it yet because it hadn't been updated yet. So hopefully we'll get an answer from him soon. We have about somewhere between 30 and 40 people sent me their addresses to give to him.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that at least some percentage of those will be newly eligible, and we can give them some good news.
Nice.
All right, next thing on the agenda is our funding article, which is on the town meeting warrant. I'm going to do a screen share real quick, if that's okay with everybody.
Mhm.
Okay.
Tom, I haven't seen you in a whole 2 days.
Gee whiz. It's being-
All right, can everybody see that? See the, this is Article 23 in parentheses, Article 29. I'm not sure what the final number is going to be.
Yes.
but okay, great. So this is our yearly PEG access and cable related fund to see if the town will vote to accept the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53F and 3/4 for the purpose of establishing a PEG access and cable related fund, and further to appropriate from the PEG access and cable related fund or to do or act anything thereon. This is something that's on every year. Carrie Turkanian weighed in on it when the select board was going over the draft warrant a couple weeks ago and said this is basically the mechanism by which the funding is made official. We get so much funding from Comcast quarterly, and we will continue to do so with the new license. This article is just the way that it gets into the town budget, as I understand it. It's been on every year since I've been on the Cable Advisory Committee.
Yeah.
And Dan Hort also he wrote it this way and we voted on it. Tom, do you have anything? I know you're sort of the institutional memory, anything to say about it?
It looks pretty good to me. In fact, it looks like an improvement over some we had in the past, which was basically inaccurate, but didn't make any difference because nobody cared about it. Just went ahead anyway. But this looks very, very correct to me. So
Yes.
somebody fooled around with it a little bit to clear
I
it up.
think this is the tweaked language. Yep.
Yeah. Good.
Which is what we're looking for. So as you see, there's recommendation spots for select board, finance and cable advisory committee. I don't know if finance is going to vote on it, but I would like us to get on the record. Is there a motion to recommend Article 23 for the 2021 town meeting warrant?
I'll move it.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any more discussion? All in favor?
I,
All right.
Okay.
500. Thank you, everybody. So I
believe-
will,
just add something. I believe that the finance committee actually just received the warrant.
Okay.
In its final form, probably a day or two ago. And it will be on their agenda or is on their agenda for Wednesday's meeting. So they will probably vote on it.
perfect.
Just speaking, it's all hearsay.
All hearsay, not that you know anyone on the finance committee, but
Rumor.
rumor. Okay, well, I'm sure we'll hear from them if there's something to be said about that. But again, I think that's not going to be on anybody's radar. This, it's just the language for the routine funding. So I'll let Charlie know that we voted on the contract and that we're voting to recommend this, and it will make, and Rebecca as well, so it will make it on to the town warrant. Thank you for doing that.
Mm,
And the next thing on our agenda is an update from Tom and Deb on anything we might want to know about Lower Cape TV. Anything, is there anything we might like to know?
Well, the big news is our plans for a new place to do business. And I think Deb has been neck deep in this thing, and she's the best one to tell you about it.
I have. I'll give you kind of a thumbnail sketch. We did not actually know until the vote was taken, probably, I don't even remember when, a couple of weeks ago, about whether or not there was going to be work done on the high school. And once the vote came in as a yes, that then gave Lower Cape TV a definite decision that we had to make, because not only were we going to be essentially homeless once they start doing the tear down, but then also during the reconstruction, and there was no guarantee of the type of space that we were going to get offered to us to move back in. So at that point, we really started hard at looking at other places that we could purchase. And we've been working with a great realtor, and we actually did identify a place. We have an offer in, and I believe at 8 o'clock this morning, I wasn't there, there was an inspection of the entire building. And I have no idea what the result of that inspection is, but I don't think it's a secret, Tom. I don't know.
Where is it?
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's the
Oh.
secret.
If you're not sure, you don't,
Well, we put a bid in. I guess we got a bid in. I guess we can tell you. I mean, why not tell you? It's just probably not public it shouldn't be public yet, should it? Because we
Well,
got,
this is gonna just, this recording will be public. So if you're
Oh,
not,
then
if
it
you want to
shouldn't
go
be,
on the
yeah.
record, then, but maybe you can tell us the vague vicinity of it.
Yeah, Orleans.
Okay, and you think, and space-wise and infrastructure-wise, it seems like it's gonna suit the needs?
It does.
Good.
It does. It's a large space, and there's great potential to build out actually 2 studios if we have the opportunity to. It's also, we have an opportunity to rent space if that's something that works, and it would be renting space to some kind of related type of business. But in terms of, what it is and where it is, you'll know when I can talk about it.
Mhm.
Well, best wishes for it to go through. So that would divorce it from Nauset High entirely? Is that the idea?
Well, we would
Right.
divorce it in terms of space. We would still provide programs. We would
Mhm.
still have,
Okay.
all kinds of accessibility to students, to teaching, learning, programming for, Tom, help me, is the PEG channel? Is that what we're talking
Yeah,
about?
basically it's the public access channel and the education channel, which is the schools, essentially, that's their channel, but we do the work on it. We put it on the air. They send whatever they want to us and we schedule it and put it on the air and manage the channel, so it looks good.
So Comcast would have to wire a new drop
Yeah,
for 99
right.
and 22 to get over there,
right.
which I assume that I've assumed they've taken that into account.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but it is, it's very well wired. So it seems from our initial walkthroughs, we've had a few, lots of live circuitry. So that's good.
Good.
And yeah, we're excited. We hope that that everything works out, and as soon as it does, you'll know.
Very glad to hear it.
You have more to say?
No, I think I kind of missed the walkthrough, but I'll hopefully get a chance soon if we do another one of those soon. So, but I hear the description is terrific, so I'm pretty happy about what I hear. So,
High ceiling, large floor
Yeah.
space, things that we want. So, yeah.
Good.
Yes.
Thank you for the update.
Mhm.
Okay, the next thing I wanted to talk about is board reorganization. I have been the chair I think I've been the chair for 2 years now. And I would like to step down as chair. I'd like to give somebody else a turn. And I was wondering if there was any interest from anyone else on the board in potentially taking that over.
well, I was chair for a lot longer than you are. So
Yeah.
I think I'll step back a little bit and see whoever else wants to do it. So,
Mark, I hate to throw you into the fire, but do you have any interest in helming that? No pressure.
I certainly could do it. I have a little bit of hesitation if we're going back to in person and I'm not here.
uh,
I'm happy to do it if it's needed.
Well, no, we don't have to vote on it today. We can certainly, I think that we are obligated to reaffirm what all the positions in the committee are by next month. So we can certainly always meet again and have a vote. But I kind of wanted to plant that seed and see if anyone else was interested in taking it over.
if I saw your hand go up there, are you getting ready to volunteer or what?
Looking at. Me? No, I was just moving my pen.
Oh, okay. You got to be careful where you put that hand up.
I've got quite enough on my plate right now. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, I'm not hearing a bunch of overwhelming enthusiasm, but please do think about it. We'll meet again, I'm sure, before the end of June. And
Couldn't you have a third year without?
I think that I can legally. I'm just a little bit overscheduled right now, and I'm also not a fan of people who sit too long in one position. I think change is good. But, if there's nobody else leaping forward, I'm certainly still here.
I just have a really big job right now and I just can't.
What could you possibly have going on over there?
I can't have this job and chair a committee right now. So.
No, I certainly understand that. But we appreciate you being here, and being on it.
So Mark, if you weren't around, we could still have Zoom meetings with you, even if you go live.
If we can still have Zoom meetings, I can do it. If it has to be in person, I would hesitate to sign up for that.
I think starting in September, there might be a change.
So what happened, the exemption to, so the state of emergency is what allowed us to exempt from the open meeting law requirement that permitted us to meet on Zoom. The original OML requirement did not permit us to meet on Zoom. The state of emergency gave us an exemption to that. That exemption was set to expire on June 15th, along with the governor's state of emergency. But he just like 2 days ago signed into legislation an extension of that exemption through September 1st, I believe. So municipalities can continue to meet on Zoom over the summer if they'd like to. After that, it would have to be revisited. So certainly there'd be no obligation to come back in person before September.
So Mia, one of the things you do is that you have to schedule the meeting at town hall. Is that, you do that over internet now, or is that in person?
Actually schedule the Zoom meeting.
Schedule a committee meeting.
Yeah, I do it over email. I check in with all of you and I say, what's a good time? And when I get a time that works for everybody, I email Rebecca. I have access to the Zoom account, but if I didn't, I would email Rebecca and say, please make me a Zoom link. And then I would email it to Jen Congo along with the agenda and say, here's all the information, and she would post it.
Good.
So that's done electronically right now. I don't see any reason why that couldn't be electronic forever, even if the meeting itself was in person. So
It used to be in person to schedule it, and but that was quite a while ago, so I don't know. Used to be you had to walk it in there.
yeah, to walk it on in. Yeah, I think a lot of stuff will change. I think a lot of the practices that have been altered will remain altered going forward. But you know, we're writing it as we go, right?
You bet. You bet.
That covered everything that I wanted to bring people together for today, and I really appreciate that you all found time to do it. Is there the other agenda item is any other business? Is there anything else that anyone would like to discuss?
I had a question for you. Do you foresee any more recorded meetings by a person, or is it in the future?
So that's a gray area right now because, as you know, there's no recording policy. The select board, when we tried to bring it, Mark, for sort of a little bit of history, we tried to bring a recording policy forward a couple of years ago and it failed. The select board was, several of the members were set against it for differing reasons, is I think how I'd characterize it. And then when Zoom came along, it sort of de facto everything had to be recorded. And they've not raised the issue again. I did get an email from a select board member today saying they wanted to talk about it. And so I would not at this point make any predictions about what they're going to do. I would assume at least the select board, when they return to being in person, will continue to be recorded. I couldn't tell you what anybody else is thinking.
I mean, by Zoom, I mean, any meeting that we do, of course, they're by Zoom now. You think we'd be going back to in-person recording of it like we used to?
Well, again, as I said, it depends on when they decide to go back and what they want to do, because there's nothing requiring them to. They never made a policy to do so, so there's no requirement.
But the other committees and stuff and boards that we were doing, are they?
I don't know.
Okay.
I wish that I did know, but
We'll find out.
you remember that it was a rocky process to even talk about it last time, so I don't know.
So committees like ZBA are not recorded previous to Zoom?
So they
They were, yeah.
They were?
they were, but it was, well, the ZBA had been recorded for about a year. I really fought a very painful uphill battle to get the more boards on top of the select board to be recorded. They were very resistant to it. Some of the boards themselves were more open to it than others, including the ZBA. The ZBA was very open-minded about it, and they got positive responses to being recorded in person. And that was about, I'd say, for a year or a year and a half in that year before the pandemic hit, we had been recording them, along with about a dozen others.
Was that you doing the work, the recording, or was you the resource?
Tom did some of the recordings. We had a staff member at the time named Andrew Staker who was doing the select board. He stopped during the pandemic because it was all on Zoom. I'm going to reach out to him and find out if he's interested in resuming it. But I would say about 70% of those committees. It was very difficult, especially because there was no policy in place about any of it. And I was sort of chasing around after them with a field camera. So again, at this point, I refuse to make predictions about what's going to happen. But I promise that I will keep this committee updated about it. And if they want to really revisit the policy, then of course, this committee is going to be the one that drafts it. So, yeah,
Hmm.
we will see how that goes.
I'm thinking just along that line is that we were doing some of the committees that we didn't have to do, but they wanted to be done, you know, like finance committee and cultural.
We never had to do any of them.
Well, not have to, but they were up for it. I mean,
Yes.
it wasn't, they didn't resist being covered, put it that
A
way.
couple of them, yes, a couple of them were very interested in it. There were 3 or 4 of them, finance, CBA, and another couple were into it. And then others were reluctant, but they did it anyway, and others just plain old refused.
Right.
So some of them may have gotten used to it over Zoom and think that they'd love to continue. Some may not. Maybe it's been really hard for them to be recorded and they'd like to stop. I'm not sure.
Mhm. Well, we'll find out
We will.
time. So,
All right. So again, I would expect another meeting at some point in June. We at least have to reaffirm our board positions. And if there is an update on a recording policy, then we'll certainly talk about it then. Other than that, is there anything else? And I'll update you on if Comcast has made any further steps. Anything else this committee wants to talk about today? Okay, thank you again for coming. Thank you for being so efficient. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
before we do that, you want to hold off on a June meeting until you know more about it? Is that what you're saying?
I
there?
think so, because again, as I said, a select board member did contact me today. I don't know if he'd like to talk to me next week. I don't know, but I'd certainly like to talk to you after that. I don't know exactly when, but
Okay, fair enough, whatever.
I would say keep your schedules open if you can for another, hopefully a half-hour meeting sometime in the middle of June.
Okay.
The second or third week would be my guess. But without knowing whether there's going to be anything to talk about, then we'll wait to schedule something.
Okay.
All right. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Sure.
Motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Who's that, Mark?
Yes.
Okay,
Is there a second?
second.
Okay.
All right. And any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
500. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful and safe Memorial Day weekend. Drive carefully.
I wish
Okay,
all
thank
of the
you.
things were this.
Puppy.
You
Cool.
too. You'll see many pictures of the puppy.